Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Eddie Marcus, spokesman and advocate of basic human rights for all people. I'm in an awkward position preparing for this presentation, but I think it's necessary that I take advantage of this opportunity while the thoughts are on my mind. As spokesman and advocate for basic human rights, I'm concerned that not just rich people enjoy life on this land, but those that we understand as being the poorest of the poor enjoy life on this land just as rich people. And I only know of one way in which that can happen. If we follow the plan of the originator of existence, all known existence. That plan was put in play, and it seems as if no one, especially during our lifetime and in the histories that we are able to read, have followed or conformed to those plans. Those plans recognize that everything that is created belongs to God. It does not belong to who can pick it up the fastest, who can grab it the fastest, who has the biggest hand. It belongs to the Creator. And just like grass on the mountainside, on the hillside, in the pastures is there for whatever cow or sheep or whatever animal that eats grass require of it, is there for them. Not for the spotted cow, the black cow, the brown cow, but for all cows. So all food that is edible by humans, all clothes that are feasible and used for clothing, humans, education that is used to make humans better at whatever it is they can do or do, health care to keep them from getting sick, treat them if they are, and try to prevent them from getting sick again. A career of choice that allows them to participate in the development and production of the goods and services that people require. Everybody, not just whites or blacks or Indians or Americans or anyone, it's for everyone. Everyone. Why is this so doggone hard for people to understand? Everyone. Well, we have such a divide. Most of the wealth of the world is owned, stolen by 1 or 2% of the population. And the rest of them, you put everything they got together. So that tells you something, ladies and gentlemen. But you know, I kind of got off mission for a while. I've been spending my time and focus on talking about what all people are entitled to. And initially, my mission was to take God's concern for the poor. The poor are poor for two reasons. One, they are being robbed by the systems that they live under. Two is they are allowing it. To be robbed by the system means they are being abused. The God of all creation says not to abuse people, to love your neighbors as yourself. This is the second greatest commandment. Love your neighbor as thyself. And the second reason is that they are allowing it, in violation of God's law that says, thou shalt have no other God before God. And yet, these two violations exist, and poverty exists. My mission has been to wake the poor people up. Well, poor people have been so disenfranchised for so long till they don't think it's possible. And if I speak to them about God, the church that has represented God has done so in such a negative way that they don't even want to hear anything mentioned about God. And so the struggle has been very complicated. For 30 years I've been out here, one version or another, whether I'm on radio, whether on cable access, whether I'm on street corners, whether I'm in meetings on organizations. I have not received any support for this change. When I go to state legislatures who are there begging for money to supplement their mission, and I go there, I speak for all of them. They are there speaking for themselves, trying to show some reason why they should not be receiving any cutbacks, and perhaps others, but not them. And I go there, I'm speaking for them all. Well, they don't like that, because if the legislatures listen to me, that means they'll get cutbacks. But if the people listen to me, they can change the system, and cutbacks would never be a concern. Because out of everything that our Heavenly Father has created and developed for us to have, not one penny, not one dime, not one greenback piece of paper written on it, "In God we trust," was ever considered. It is not necessary. That is a con. That is a part of the Ponzi scheme. And we've played it all our lifetime, and we see it no other way. I was at a church meeting last night. I had most recently been praying that God would open doors for me to take this message forward in a positive way. And of late, this has happened. Doors have been open for me to go to community meetings. Doors have been open for me to go to department meetings of the state, specifically Health and Human Services Finance Division, to speak before the state legislatures. These doors was just open. And there was a meeting that's going on in a church, a convocation. And I asked God, I said, "God, well, I'm ready. I've made the steps to let people know I want to present. But as always, I'm asking you, if it is your desire, please open the door." Well, I did my work, and I suppose God did his or didn't. In any event, the door wasn't open. Anyway, I went to the meeting. There was a ministers and workers meeting, and I'm watching these preachers preach. Same old story I've been hearing for the past 60 years, one way or another. All ramping and raving, trying to get emotions stirred up. Choir singing, everybody standing up clapping hands. But the only thing that I could see that was going to be solid from that meeting was fundraising, money. That money that they took up. When the end of the day, the money was there. But when those people walked away, they were going to walk away the same way they came in. The same identical way they came in. Some of them poorer than me. And yet, they were there because they've been told that this is the things to do. When I look back at the stories of the Catholic Church before Martin Luther, I mean, ladies and gentlemen, if you did your research, you would find that the Catholic Church had people doing some of the most heinous things. And they did it because they believed it. They were taught and they believed it. Martin Luther didn't. And so he took issue with it and established the Protestant Reformation. And I want to tell you that the Protestant Reformation, though different than the Catholic Church, is in the same boat as the Catholic Church because of the people that are being chosen or stepping up to teach and its effect on people. You talk about saving souls, getting them into heaven. Don't want anybody to be lost. Want to spend eternity with Jesus Christ. You want to be in heaven. Somewhere in that Bible it says, how can you say you love God when you don't love your neighbor? How can you say it? You can say it, but it's a lie. How can you say you want to get people's souls into heaven when you don't care about how they live here on earth? Here on earth, you see your neighbors. You don't see God. God is invisible except through his creation. Here on earth, you have the opportunity to create exactly what you want when you go to heaven, if that is a reality. And you lift no fingers. The only God that I've recognized, that the people recognize in this United States of America, and that is my understanding about all over the world, are the systems that have been established. In America, you talk about God on Sunday, but God really doesn't have an effect on your life except your ability to come and say you got faith and put money in church or stand in the pulpit and preach. I'm not knocking God because God is as real as this picture you see right now. But the emphasis, the impact on the lives of people and its relationship to the development of a society is very weak. We say that the devil rules the world. You don't see a devil around here. All you see are people who hate each other, who work against each other, who creates this poverty and all. These are people. You can blame it on the devil, but it is people who are doing this. And you want to say you want God, whom you can't see, to wave a wand and straighten the situation out. and you say you believe in God, you say that that is where your faith is founded on, then why aren't you lifting your hands, lifting your feet, lifting your mouth for God? The same way you have been lifting your feet, lifting your hands and your mouth for Satan. Why? 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 Answer that question to me. Why are you doing it? The poor people of this world, God is amazed that you would allow this to happen to you for so long. And God has put me out here to tell you that you are being robbed, and the people who are robbing you are filthy rich. And those who are not filthy rich are reaping benefits from it just as well. You say, we have shelters, we have soup lines, we do everything we can to help people. We have health care, that's minimal. We have minimum wage, that's minimal. What is that for? To play the game, to pretend like God is getting some recognition. There's no poverty in heaven. At least this is what you say. You don't believe that there's poverty in heaven. Then why is there poverty here? You don't believe that you'll ever need any type of health care and not have it in heaven. So why does it exist here? You don't believe that you will have nothing to do. Some people say you just walk around, drink milk, eat honey all day. No, baby, you're not going to do that. You're going to work. You got responsibilities in heaven, just like you got responsibilities here that you straight. You say you don't have to worry about crime and sin and stuff in heaven. I want you to know, as far as our understanding goes, the first crime and sin happened in heaven. They say Lucifer defied God. But not only Lucifer, they say when Lucifer was kicked out, a third of the host of heaven was kicked out with him. So don't think that everything is dicky-dory in heaven. It's just that God is not putting up with it. And we are put here to learn the difference. And how do you learn the difference? By putting your hand to work, by creating whatever you can imagine heaven is like, creating it right here on this earth. And if you put your hands, put your mind, put your bodies together, you can create it. And if you can't, let it not be because you didn't try. Let it be because you died trying. Now, if a man is trying to create heaven on earth and has died, killed in the process, if there's any other place that this person can be, it has to be heaven. But what do? We don't want to break any laws. We got racism all over the place. We got women's rights denied. We're paying people minimum wages. We are building materials that only last for a certain period of time so we can keep the circular economy going. We keep on borrowing money, living in debt. This is pure hell, ladies and gentlemen. Pure hell. White people, I know when I see you, especially ones who got nice cars and look like you're progressive, you can't stand this conversation. But I speak this conversation to you as well because it is absolutely true. I am telling you, it is absolutely true. Absolutely. Now, I know this message isn't really for people who go to church. This message is not for church people. Because church people will get so angry with me. The people who don't go to church, who are not rich, know that what I'm saying is exactly the truth. It'll take a storm for them to get active in making change. I'm reminded that just the other day, I wrote an article. It's called It's a Crying Shame. And I sent it to newspapers here in St. Paul and Woodbury, Minnesota. And I sent it to various states across the nation. And I was kind of articulating some part of this message that I'm giving you here today. And I indicated that what is going on in the world is wrong. I indicated something about Libya and how those people were being killed who were fed up with the type of system that they were living under, that oppressive system. And no nation in the world was rising up to stop that death. Oh, they're sending them some food, I understand. Sending them some recourse to get out of the way, I understand. Considering sending them some guns, but they're dying right now. And no one would pick up any type of help and support them. Though they did it in Iraq to liberate people who weren't even trying to liberate themselves. Though they did it in Afghanistan to liberate a people who were not even trying to liberate themselves. And also to, as I understand, to fight a war with an enemy that might be there, but rather fight them there than here. So I don't understand why we, the people who say we love God, just sit back and allow this to happen. Well, that's the same way the church acts. All of this poverty going on, they accept in the fact that a shelter, a soup line, minimum wages is the way. It is not the way, ladies and gentlemen. How many of you, and I'll ask this to you again, how many of you would be satisfied with being sick and not having a doctor to go to, or having a doctor but could not afford it? How many of you wanted to do something great but you needed a little bit more education in the field and it was denied you? How many of you want a career to participate in the various things that people do and were denied the opportunity? So you become a handicap. You become a burden to the society that you are willingly preparing yourself to help. How many of you would go for that? None of you. None of you want it. How many of you would turn your back on peace? How many of you would turn your back on prosperity? How many of you would turn your back on joy? Not a single one of you. And yet the opportunity for it to exist requires that you put your hands to work on it, but you've accepted the teaching of a system that says we know what's best, and what's best is what you got. And if you don't like it, I got jails for you. If you don't like it, I got prisons for you. And if you don't like it, I'll kill you. Doesn't that sound like hell? I mean, how more explicit can hell be? I know you were told a story that there was a devil running around with forks and horns, a red tail, that's burning you and burning you and burning you and burning you. And as long as that's not happening to you, you figure that you've escaped hell. No, ladies and gentlemen, we're living in hell every day. Even the rich, who got so much access to other things that we wish we had, are living in hell because they don't have the peace. Oh, they got the legislators bought. They got them set up to protect their lies that they might perpetrate on you. But as what happened in Japan the other day, the tsunamis. This is nature. I don't care how you've abused people and what you've done to create for yourselves. It's almost like the Tower of Babel. People say, we got it going on. We going up to heaven. We got it made. And then something came and blew it down, confounded the people's language. They could even communicate with one another. And now, great Japan, Alaska, Hawaii, coastal USA, tsunami coming in, earthquake, blaming it, tearing up, ripping up what you have built that say that you were so great. Houses on top of houses, cars on top of houses, thousands dead. By nature. By nature. Now, when you want to recover from this, what you do? You go borrow money, getting in debt, owing interest, bound to a devil. We should have no problem about what to do in a situation like this. We come together and we fix it because we got a need. We got the labor and we got the material. We don't need money to do it. And without money, everything will be all right. I think I'll leave it here. I was supposed to stop about 15 minutes and got going good, and I got about 18:35 here. So until next time, this is Eddie Marcus saying bye-bye.